His own words echo like a warning from history. I don't want to see another Nagasaki or Hiroshima ever again. If my story can help prevent one more bomb from falling, then I have done my duty. On the morning of August 6, 1945, the sky above Hiroshima was crystal clear, almost unnaturally beautiful. The sunlight bathed the city in gold, and the streets bustled with people going about their daily routines. But for Tsutomu Yamaguchi, a 29-year-old engineer, this day was not meant to be ordinary. He had been in Hiroshima on a temporary work assignment for Mitsubishi Heavy Industries, and this was his last day in the city before returning home to his wife and infant son in Nagasaki. As he walked toward the shipyard, he noticed a distant, low hum in the sky, the kind of sound that feels out of place in an otherwise peaceful morning. At first, he thought it might be just another aircraft, but as he squinted upward, he saw a single B-29 bomber glinting in the sunlight, flying high above the city. What happened next would change the course of his life forever. At exactly 8:15 a.m., a blinding flash, brighter than the sun itself, exploded in the sky. Yamaguchi's ears rang as the world around him was swallowed in white light. The shockwave hit seconds later, a roaring, unstoppable force that threw him into the air and slammed him into a nearby field. He felt his skin burn instantly, his eardrums nearly rupture, and his vision blur. The little boy, atomic bomb had detonated less than 3 kilometers away from where he stood. The city of Hiroshima vanished in an instant. Buildings were flattened, fires erupted everywhere, and thousands of people, in the blink of an eye, were gone. Yamaguchi stumbled through the chaos, half-deaf, his face and arms scorched, his clothes in tatters. Around him, people wandered like ghosts, skin peeling, eyes staring blankly, some calling out for loved ones who would never answer. The smell of burning flesh and smoke filled the air, a suffocating reminder of the scale of destruction. He somehow found his way to a bomb shelter, where he spent the night in agony. His body was covered in burns, his ears still ringing, but his mind was fixed on one thing, getting home to Nagasaki. The next morning, against all odds, Yamaguchi boarded a train out of Hiroshima. It's hard to imagine the willpower it took, injured, traumatized, barely able to stand, but he made the nearly 200-mile journey. By the evening of August 7th, he was home. His wife was shocked by his condition, but relieved to see him alive. He told her about the bomb, about the unimaginable devastation, about the single plane that had destroyed an entire city. But fate wasn't finished with him yet. On August 9, 1945, just 3 days after Hiroshima, Yamaguchi found himself at work in Nagasaki. Despite his injuries, he had gone to the Mitsubishi office to report to his superiors about what had happened in Hiroshima. While he was in a meeting, he tried to explain the magnitude of the weapon he had witnessed. One bomb destroyed everything. One plane, one bomb. Some in the room were skeptical. They couldn't believe such destruction could come from a single weapon. At 11:02 a.m., they got their answer. Another blinding flash, another wave of heat so intense it felt like the air itself was on fire, tore through Nagasaki. This time, the bomb was, Fat Man, even more powerful than the one that had destroyed Hiroshima. The shockwave ripped through the office, shattering windows, collapsing parts of the building. Yamaguchi was once again thrown to the ground. His bandaged wounds from Hiroshima reopened, fresh burns scorched his skin, and dust and debris filled his lungs. He had survived his second atomic blast in just 3 days. The destruction of Nagasaki was catastrophic. Tens of thousands were dead instantly, and many more would die in the days and weeks that followed from burns and radiation sickness. Yamaguchi returned home to find his house reduced to rubble, but somehow, miraculously, his wife and son had survived. His wife had been out fetching ointment for his Hiroshima burns when the bomb fell, and she had taken shelter in a tunnel with their child. But survival came with a cost. Over the following weeks, Yamaguchi battled high fever, vomiting, and hair loss, symptoms of severe radiation poisoning. Many around him died from similar conditions, but somehow, he pulled through. For decades, he carried the memories, and the scars, of those 2 days. He lived a quiet life, teaching, raising his children, and avoiding the public eye. Japan, in the post-war years, was still coming to terms with the bombings, and many survivors, known as hibakusha, faced stigma and discrimination. But in his later years, Yamaguchi decided to speak out. He began telling his story to the world, advocating for the abolition of nuclear weapons. His testimony wasn't one of hatred or revenge, it was one of warning. In an interview before his death, he said, "Having experienced atomic bombings twice, I am convinced that no one else should ever suffer what I have suffered. This is my duty as a survivor." Yamaguchi lived until 2010, passing away at the age of 93. He remains the only officially recognized person to have survived both atomic bombings, a living bridge between two of the darkest moments in human history. His life is a testament to unimaginable resilience. Twice, in the space of 3 days, death had found him, and twice, he had walked away. But perhaps the most haunting part of his story is this: even after seeing 2 cities reduced to ash, even after losing friends, colleagues, and neighbors in an instant, Yamaguchi never let hatred define him. Instead, he used his voice to plead for peace, to make sure the horror he endured would never be repeated. When you think about luck, it's easy to wonder, was Tsutomu Yamaguchi the luckiest man alive, or the unluckiest? Maybe the answer is both. And maybe that's what makes his story so unforgettable, a man caught between life and death, not once, but twice, who chose to spend the rest of his life ensuring the world would remember what nuclear war truly means.